There's something we all share, something that inspires us, drives us, and challenges us. It's what gets us out of bed, ready to face each day and find new ways to improve our urban world and our customers' lives. It's the opportunity to reimagine and redefine our cities and leave a powerful legacy. There's a shift happening. Boundaries are blurring. Work is no longer what we do between 9 and 5. Leisure is no longer confined to the weekends, and family time isn't neatly tucked away into the early evening and holidays. Digital interactions and physical connections are converging. Everything's intertwined. People everywhere are looking for ways to live a seamlessly connected life. We want to live in more connected environments. We want to lead fluid lives where we can easily shift between working, caring, resting, shopping, volunteering, learning, and raising our families. We want to experience fuller, more rewarding lives, lived in our own way. For this to happen, the urban environment has to change. And this is why we're here. Reimagining and redefining our cities is what we do. It's our reason for being. We're a world leader in the creation and management of unique urban places. We're at the forefront of reimagining the way Australian city dwellers live, work, and shop. We're redefining the landscape and creating more sustainable, more connected, more fluid, more vibrant, and more striking urban environments. We're shaping the future, a future where families can spend more time together, where they can live and grow in nurturing surroundings. We're improving lifestyles for people by creating seamless environments where they can meet for work and for recreation. We're creating workplaces where collaboration and contribution are more important than office-bound presence. We're having a positive impact on our cities and our customers with our ambitious This Changes Everything sustainability agenda. We're creating award-winning places that people love, and all of us at Mirvac have the opportunity to contribute to the powerful legacy that we will leave behind. It's easy to see why we're an employer of choice when it comes to joining a passionate group of people who are creating and managing leading-edge urban environments. At Mirvac, we have a purpose, and that purpose is to reimagine urban life. Reimagining harnesses the power of our imagination, of our dreams, to do things differently, perhaps even in a startling way. It means to question, to think again, to not settle for the tried and true or the mundane. We're not just creating assets or building buildings, we're providing new ways for people to live their lives in our cities. And we know that the only way we will bring this purpose to life is to harness the power of all of us.
Hello and welcome to this week's show. Well, over the weekend there were 1,444 homes taken to auction across the combined capital cities, increasing from the previous week when we saw just a touch under 1,000, about 928 last weekend. Although lower than this week last year when we saw almost 2,000 go to auction. Geoff White, as you'll hear in just a moment from CoreLogic, says there are some very encouraging signs on the horizon. Back in just a moment.
The real estate business is tough, and rising costs are making it harder to thrive. Did you know you can save up to 70% on your staff costs by outsourcing the low-value, repeatable tasks, so your team can focus on growing your business? Beepo is an outsourcing provider focused on the real estate industry. With an English-speaking, tertiary qualified and fully trained team in the Philippines, Beepo will give your business the boost it needs to start growing and returning value to you. We can look after all of your low-value, repetitive administration work from our fully secure office. We provide comprehensive real estate-focused training and accreditation. The Beepo team is supervised by on-site management with finance industry standard security features. For more information, visit beepo.com.au.
And we say hello once again to Geoff White. G'day, Geoff. How you doing?
Oh, very good, Kevin. How are you?
Yeah, good. Big weekend, wasn't it? And I'm keen to hear what those encouraging signs are, although auction numbers are down just a little bit on this time last year. Is that a big surprise to you, Geoff?
I think, Kevin, the auction numbers being down is not a surprise given the market and how we finished 2018. I think we knew the auction numbers were never going to be like the early part of last year or in fact 2017. So from that point of view, not surprised at all. One little surprise, I suppose, is that we're seeing clearance rates, albeit we're not back to full steam ahead yet, but we're seeing clearance rates above the 50%, and in Sydney this week, a preliminary rate of 61%, which is very pleasing, yes.
Wow, yeah, that is good. Brisbane down just a little bit again. This time last year, 44%, but 32%. Adelaide, Perth, the Perth numbers, yeah, they're holding about the same. Gee, isn't Adelaide amazing? 67%.
Yes, that's right, exactly right. And if you go through them, look, the numbers have definitely increased in Sydney and Melbourne in terms of the numbers of auctions held. And with that, we're still seeing clearance rates above the 50, and as I said, 61 in Sydney. Brisbane probably dropped a little bit. Adelaide definitely bounced back compared to last week. I think we finished at 46.9. We're at 67.2, and that can be because just a few auctions that previously might have been passed in, or they're now sold, and it can make a big difference to the percentage. And Canberra was the other one that dropped back this week compared to last week, where it finished at 55%. So now down to 47.5. So overall, a weighted average nationally of 55.2. Which is up on last week of 51.1, where we finished.
Yeah, I was going to say that affordability has a big play in Adelaide, but gee, if you look at that Sydney market, which is heralded as one of the most expensive in the world, at 61% on top of 521 auctions, it's a pretty good sign, I would have thought, Geoff.
Yeah, it is. And if you look at the graph showing the combined capital cities, you'll now see that it's got a bit of a tail at the end that's starting to come back up, and that's a really good sign. And perhaps the market is showing some sort of bounce back, but again, pretty early to call. We'll see how the next couple of weeks go, because we've got a lot more auctions. But yeah, it's a good sign so far, Kevin. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's have a look at our next graphic, which has a look at the combined capital cities and breaks it up into houses and units. Total there of, what are we looking at, Geoff? 55.2% combined totals.
That's right.
And 55. So an even split really between houses and units. Where were the standouts? I guess Adelaide, fairly uniform. Canberra.
Yeah. Look, most of those are all pretty much similar. Canberra, there's obviously been more houses. There's not many units in Canberra. Melbourne, very similar, 55% houses, units 53.1. Sydney, houses 60%, units 62. So pretty consistent across the board in terms of the ratio between houses and units, Kevin, yeah.
Yeah, and we look at those medians too. Gee, the median in Canberra's pretty high.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. When you look at compare it to the likes of Sydney, well, it's up there.
Even Melbourne,
yeah, that's right.
It's ahead of Melbourne. Yeah. Interesting.
It
might be worth having a look at that at some stage to see what's happening there. As well, we'll do that in the weeks to come. But the median across all capital cities still hovering around that, just a touch under 900,000 for houses.
That's right.
Yeah, or just a touch over. Sorry.
Near 937. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on, Geoff. We'll have a look at the Sydney regions. What can we draw out of that one?
Yeah, look, again, the numbers can be up and down so much from week to week, but there seems to be a lot in the 60s. And if we even look at North Sydney, on the North Sydney, Hornsby and Northern Beaches, both with over 70% and particularly North Sydney, Hornsby, a reasonable number of auctions, 96 auctions. So that's really starting to show some strength in the market there. But generally speaking, if we looked at this, say, 2 or 3 months ago, Kevin, we saw a lot more 40s and 50s, and now we're seeing 60s and the odd 70. So it's actually a good sign. And eastern suburbs and inner south, all in the low to mid 60s. Yeah.
So what's happening out in Blacktown? Not looking real good out there. Are these a lot of sales that occur after auction, do you think?
Yeah, it could be. There's only 15 auctions. We got 11 results there. A bit hard to draw conclusions as to what happened. I'd have to drill down into what the actual properties were that were being auctioned, but that wouldn't have helped the overall Sydney clearance rate when you've got Blacktown at 18%. That's right.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the top sale out of Sydney. Was 2 Gipp Street at Bronte, 3,180,000. Phillips, Panzer and Donnelly, David Tyrrell, Alexander Phillips selling this one. 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1 car. Nice looking property, this one.
Yeah, what a classic. It's the agent says first time offered for over a century, or for sale in a century, and 400 square metres, so not an overly big block, but built, in that Queen Anne style Federation era. I think built 1905, double fronted. It's brick. It's got all the character and charm you'd want. A Federation style home, dual access. And the LED lights and all the things that people would like in a home today. But the thing is, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, so a really good size home. And what a location, Bronte there, not far from the beach and all the cafes there.
Yeah, you said dual access too. That's because it appears to me that it's on a corner block, which always adds a lot of value, I think, Geoff.
That's right, exactly. Particularly when you've got a home that's not on a very wide frontage, and you're able to build from more boundary to boundary, providing you've got car access at the back. So this one had that, and a really pleasant and good-looking home, and well done to Alexander and David. A good result.
Yeah, a great result. Okay, we'll move on to Melbourne now. Look at the Melbourne regional results. Just having a look, fairly uniform across most of the regions there. Good performance out of Inner East again.
Yes, well, that's right. We've been watching Inner East, and it's been last week it was down, this weekend's up. So it really just depends on the type and style of the properties that are being offered. Again, we're seeing more of the 50s. The Outer East just blown us away there with 73.9%. And again, that was down last week. So as you can see from week to week, these results really can change, and it depends on what's being offered on that given day. The northeast at 48%, and a very strong inner area, and inner south still above 50. So across the board, very good. And word on the street is the buyers were certainly out and about on the weekend and putting their hands up and going through a lot of opens. So good sign.
Yeah, top sale out of Melbourne was 3 Vincent Street at Surrey Hills, just at almost 3 million, 2,840,000. Marshall White selling this one, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car. This just having a quick look at this property too as we bring up the slides there. Yeah, nice outdoor areas in this one as well, and another good classic home, Geoff.
Yeah, a terrific home, a really good leafy part of Melbourne, and this particular home, no doubt, the land size was a major attraction here. Yep. Over 1,000 square metres, or if you're a bit old-fashioned like me, nearly 11,000 square feet, and an Edwardian family home, and it ticked all the boxes there, Kevin. 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage, and also did have some access as well via the back of the property.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So again, we're a bit like the one in Sydney, and that adds value. There's no doubt about that. And very close to the Mailing Road and all of those wonderful shops in around that precinct. Yeah,
it's great when you look at these homes too, Geoff, and they keep the fireplace. I saw a fireplace there in one of the bedrooms, also a fireplace in the kitchen, which I think has been built in, but it still remains that it gives it that cottage feel, I guess, or heritage feel.
Yeah, it does, and that's the secret when you've got some of these old homes and you're renovating them, is to obviously bring all the other areas of the home up to modern day standard, but keeping some of that character and charm, and the buyers love it. And well done to the owners of this property. It's been well presented, and that's why they've got a good result.
Yeah, stay with us. We've got the top sales coming for you out of Brisbane and Adelaide. Out of Brisbane, we'll tell you about a sale that almost topped $2 million. Stick around. That's coming up in just a moment. Back soon. Welcome back to the show. Top sale out of Brisbane this week. Geoff White is co-hosting the show with me, as he does every week. And Geoff, of course, from CoreLogic. Top sale out of Brisbane, 380 London Road at Belmont. Big home, or big block of land, just over a hectare. 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 4 car. And Harcourt's Green Living, David Green, selling this one for $1,850,000, Geoff. Very stylish, fairly new-looking home by the looks to me.
Yeah, so it does, Kevin, a terrific home, well presented on the internet. Well done, David. Yeah, what a huge property with all those timber floors through the property as well. Again, having a little bit of character there with those floors, and tennis court and even a dam on the property there. So,
is there a dam too? I missed that part. Yeah, I saw the billiard room. I didn't get past that. I thought. Yeah. That's something you and I could hang out in. You could see long weekends there. Yeah,
around the pool as well. That's right. Yeah.
Indeed.
So very good home and well positioned. And again, the presentation has been very high in this one. You can flick through on the internet, and it really grabs your attention. And I don't think there'll be too many of those around Brisbane at the moment on the market. So. No. Hence the good result, and well done, David.
Yeah, good on you, David. Okay, we'll take you to Adelaide now, and we look at the top sale there, which was $1,285,000 for the property at 2 St Peters Street, St Peters, Fox Real Estate. Kirsty Davis, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 car accommodation on 743 square metres, Geoff.
Yes, again, a good look, really good looking home here, and presentation's been superb. Renovated throughout. It's got a central courtyard. It's got a swimming pool, large big front garden, established trees. Got a nice atmosphere about it. 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 2 car parks on land of 743 square metres. So a good size allotment and a good result. And there'd be a very comfortable home to live in this one.
Yeah, very impressive entrance this one too. Looking at that photograph that we saw there in those slides of the front. The front of the home, really nice entry, very classic, I would think, and it's been well maintained inside as well, Geoff.
That's right. There's been a fair bit spent on this property over the time, and with the modern extension, but got a lot of street appeal. You pull up out the front, you can see that photo there, Kevin, and then it transforms as you walk through. So a great home. Well, good result there, Kirsty.
Okay, well, there you go. 1,444 homes to auction. What was that clearance rate again, Geoff?
Yeah, the clearance, national weighted clearance rate, 55.2.
55, yeah.
So in Adelaide, and this was obviously the last property was one that in Adelaide, 67.2 in Adelaide.
Yeah.
So some really good results, yeah.
Yep, all right. Well, we'll come back on Friday, give you the final results. Geoff will join us then, and then we're back again next Monday and have a look at the auction results from the weekend. We are first to the market with this. We give you a detailed report every week. Geoff White from CoreLogic, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Kevin, and enjoy the week.
Roll call. Future marine biologist.
I'm here.
Aspiring songwriter.
Here.
Captain Lasercat.
Affirmative.
At Amazon, we have everything for back to school.
Mirvac has been reimagining urban life since 1972. It started with 2 men from Sydney, Robert Bob Hamilton, a real estate agency owner, and Henry Pollock, an architect and builder. an innovative partnership that would shape the way people live, work and play for decades to come.
I'm a very firm believer in teamwork. Any major project would form a team. You know, you'd have someone from marketing, an architect, builder and developer, and you'd agree on the way you were going to go forward. Unless you all agreed that's the way to do it, then the deal wasn't on. So you had to cooperate and work the way together. And I can only stress too very strongly that you've got to work as a team, because nobody knows it all.
It was the beginning of one of Australia's most successful property development stories, and it's a story that continues to be told today through Mirvac's growth, success and people. Hamilton and Pollock's first project was a block of 12 apartments completed in 1972 in Sydney's Rose Bay. It was called Montrose. By the end of the 1970s, they were not only building houses on subdivided land in the growing suburbs of northwest Sydney, they were revitalising existing apartments, which was key to Mirvac thriving during the 1970s downturn. In the 1980s, Mirvac led the revival in Sydney's property market.
And that really started in 1981 in the York apartments. We did the first sort of major residential building in the city. And people queued around the corner and around the block. And we sold out the 150 units in the morning. They were selling their places in the line, which is quite incredible.
The York was Sydney's first luxury high-rise apartment building to be built in the CBD for 50 years, and it changed the real estate landscape.
The actual fact that we did influence the standard housing and apartment building in this country. There's no doubt I think we did lead the way and set a certain standard that people copied and now I find that there's no doubt that the competition's a lot better now than it used to be.
Since then, Mirvac has further expanded to constructing whole master plan communities, creating beautiful spaces to work, shop and play, where every project brings new expertise and opportunity.
I was fortunate enough at the start of my career to work with the two founders of Mirvac, being Bob and Henry. You know, a very small company back then, but you know, we worked on some amazing projects in the early years. Projects like Newington or the Olympic Village, Walsh Bay here in Sydney. I think back to you know, the Newington project or the Olympic Village, where we started working on that in the mid-90s. We literally worked out of the back of a garage in Woolloomooloo.
The village had to cater for 16,000 athletes, so we had to design a whole bunch of houses that had to cater for 24 people in each home, and then we had to convert that into a sustainable community.
In the 1990s up in Brisbane, Mirvac was the first developer to really take advantage of the river and do a development called Mariners Reach that was a revitalisation of an existing industrial area into a vital new community space and residential opportunity.
Today, Mirvac is a top 50 ASX listed company and is a diverse but integrated group of over 1,400 employees working across many more innovative, bold projects than the founders could have conceived when they started Mirvac all those years ago.
The Mirvac's good name is the most important asset it's got. Yep. So I think that's what you've got to keep working on.